Everybody knows I love your guts, and today we're going to be talking to Kylie Ward all about homeopathy and gut health. So stick around with Barefoot Bliss and Divine Wellness.
See you there. Welcome to Barefoot Bliss and Divine Wellness, where we explore the transformative powers of holistic health practices and real-life practicality. I'm Robin Devine, and I'm inviting you on a journey towards radiant well-being and inner harmony. Welcome back to Barefoot Bliss and Divine Wellness. I'm your host, Robin Devine, hanging out with Megan Barefoot. And last episode, we hung out with Kylie Ward, and she dove into sleep and stress and immunity and homeopathy, or homeopathy. Like, really, who cares, right? It's the same thing, and it sounds great. But this episode, you shocker to the whole world, we're going to talk about gut health. And Megan, how the hell did that get onto our schedule?
It's a big deal.
It's a mystery, but it's a big deal.
Yeah, gut health and inflammation stemming from gut health. And so I just want to say welcome. And I would really love to know, because this is my niche, how does homeopathy connect to gut health and inflammation? And do you work with a lot of people with gut issues? And how does that look for you in your practice?
So every client of mine, I will address their digestion. So that is a question.
I love that.
No matter what they come in for.
So important.
Very important. And it's an indicator of health. So if someone, goes to the bathroom every 4 days and it's been like that since the day they were born, and they're otherwise healthy in their digestion, I don't address it. If they come to me and they go to the bathroom every 4 days and it's uncomfortable and it hurts and there's a whole bunch of stuff around that, and that's what we call the energy in the case. So if there's energy somewhere and they're bringing it up and it's not good, then that tells me that I have to focus on that area and I have to address that area.
Okay.
So in terms of using remedies to address gut health and inflammation, generally across the board, when I work with clients and I'm doing what's called a clearing protocol, it will always include what's called a bowel nosode. And what a nosode is a homeopathic remedy that's actually derived from a disease or a bacteria or a virus, or and so the bowel nosodes are derived from bowel bacteria.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Ooh, no.
And I feel like we went down the right angle, right alley for Megan there. That was perfect. Continue.
It's awesome. And there's different ways we can use those in practice. We can use them all together, or we can break them down into certain bacterias if someone knows that they haven't been well since a certain, if they were traveling and they got sick and they've tested positive for bacteria X, then I would just give that nosode to them. If it's just a general, when I do what's called, like I just mentioned, clearing protocols, what we're doing there is we're helping the body get rid of toxins. And so you want to make sure that the clearing avenues of your body,
yes, ma'am,
most importantly, the
bowels
intestines, the bowels, the digestive system, you want that to be as healthy as possible. So you want to give it that information it needs to operate at its best and continue to improve. So I have clients who don't even come to me that it's not even a problem that they only go to the bathroom 4 times.
They don't know, right?
Every 4
they
days.
Don't know.
It's not an issue.
Normal.
Yeah.
So when I check in with them, hey, how's it going? How's your digestion? Oh, it's crazy. I'm going to the bathroom once, sometimes twice a day, And you're just like, yes, that's awesome. Yeah. They didn't realize it was something that could be leading to what's going on. But
what's wonderful about that, and I have heard about this a couple times, is obviously everything that happens in the gut affects everything. So even like in our last episode when we talked about stress and sleep and immunology, if you're having issues, you're digestive, that's going to impact absolutely everything. So you know, it's a refreshing thing, and I love that it's not just the symptoms, but it's looking at root causes, and it's looking at how you can balance the whole body using, you know, homeopathy.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And especially with something like anxiety, or even for neurodivergence, or if you're ASD, or if you constantly have, you know, if you're constantly in fight or flight, and you're constantly being swashed with cortisol in your body, you're going to be countering that, and so your body is also eventually going to be full of histamine from that, and that histamine is going to be living in your intestines, and that generally is what gives most of us our digestion issues.
It's a big deal. It is a really big deal.
Yeah, in a nutshell.
And there's so much inflammation that stems from gut issues that people just live with as a normal, like the bloating, the gas, the uncomfortable feeling of passing food through their bowels. Can you do? How can you help with the inflammation?
So with inflammation, there's, you know, the interesting thing about homeopathy is I can list off 10 remedies that can help with inflammation. Which remedy is right for you depends on the symptoms that accompany that inflammation. And that's sort of how we narrow down that remedy. When I speak about clearing protocols, what that does is how we approach that is with inflammation, there's histamine. They go hand in hand. Yeah. And so, for example, a clearing protocol to help with, you know, inflammation within the gut, I would possibly look at remedies that would help clear histamine, or an actual histamine clearing protocol.
Interesting.
So I would give you the remedy histaminum in potency. And what that means is we start at a really low potency and we work up to a really high potency, and we do that over 4 months' time. So that way the body is able to slowly pull away from its reactive state.
Right.
It slowly learns how to handle the situations that otherwise cause it to be reactive. And of course, it's not just the histamine that we're working with. We're also using a constitutional remedy, and we're also using anything else that comes into play with that specific case in front of me. But histamine's a huge one, cortisol's a huge one, adrenaline, serotonin, dopamine. These can be given in potency to help your body learn how to balance those hormones. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. And so clients that come in that have been diagnosed with something like IBS or IBD, Crohn's, colitis.
Yes.
Would you approach that from a bacterial point of view, or would you approach that from an inflammation, histamine point of view?
Both.
Ooh.
Both. We would treat both the bacteria. We would do the bacterial nosodes. We would treat the inflammation. And ideally, that would be through your constitutional remedy. So the constitutional remedy will have a keynote of, you know, any type of aggravation in your bowels. It depends on this absolute specifics of your symptoms. So if the inflammation is like tight, twisting, hot pain, then that's the keynote that I'm going to look for in your constitutional remedy that's going to help you with the inflammation.
See, this is why you can't Google it.
No,
like, I'm
right?
listening to this already, and I'm like, you know what? This is why
it's so complicated.
You go and see a homeopath.
Yes.
This is why you sit down, and because all those things that you don't consider to be critical or important end up being such a signal,
yes.
such a marker that goes, this is where it needs to go, right?
Yes, yeah.
So
it's interesting because you can tell clients get annoyed with you when you're like, tell me more about that. And it's like, I told you, it hurts. It's like, I want to know how it hurts, why it hurts, what makes it better, what makes it worse. Does stretching feel good, or does bending over feel good? Those are details that I need.
It's interesting because I ask very similar questions.
Yeah.
And I just think people are so busy and so stressed, and they have just, it's like the train that you no longer hear going by anymore because you're just used to hearing it.
Yeah.
So it really, I find sometimes symptoms end up getting worse before they get better, but they're not really getting worse. They're just, the client is getting much more self-aware.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah.
by us talking about this and wanting to know more details, all of a sudden they're, oh yeah, it does feel better when I stretch, just, you know.
Yeah.
And those details are so powerful. You know?
really
and
are.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's say a client or person, anybody who's watching, wants to sit down and start breaking down their pain patterns and all those questions, because like I said, there's no way I'd be able to be like, and it hurts when I do a side bend and cough. Those kinds of things, that's where Homeopath comes in. So how do people get a hold of you?
All right, so I work out of the Renewal Wellness Center in Varsity in Calgary, and online I'm Kylie Ward, homeopathy.com.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here today, and thank you so much for joining us once again for Barefoot Bliss and Divine Wellness. We are very excited. We have one more episode with Kylie Ward, and we are going to be talking more about family health and how we can bring homeopathy into the household.
We would love for you to join us, so see you then.
As we conclude another enriching episode of Barefoot Bliss and Divine Wellness, remember to embrace that journey towards optimal health with open hearts and minds. I'm Megan Barefoot, urging you to step boldly into your wellness journey. Until we meet again, stay vibrant.